Everybody loves some drama. So why did Haas get a penalty at the Hungarian Grand Prix? A post-race penalty. Well, let's get straight into that. That's exactly what this video is for. So Haas had a stellar performance at the Hungarian Grand Prix, P9 and P15. P15 not so stellar, but they had some decent points. Magnussen in P9. However, there was an issue. Although they had an incredibly good strategic call to come into the pits on the formation lap, to come in, pit onto the slick tyres and start the race as normal. Promoted them very, very far up the grid, P3 and P4 by lap 2 or 3, something like that. Very, very good. However, the issue comes with how they came into the pits. I'm going to pull up now Article 27 of the sporting regulations for 2020. So a protest, or not a protest, so many protests have been going around, that's kind of stuck in my head. Haas was summoned to the pits under Article 27.1 of the sporting regulations. The driver must drive the car alone and unaided. Now, this is extremely vague. That's vague. It's you can say that applies to Norris's final laps, yada yada yada, but this was the article that they were explicitly summoned for to the stewards. Now it refers to when they came into the pits. They were instructed by their team to pit both cars. I think Kvyat did the same. However, the difference with Kvyat is he asked the team. He told his team, am I able to pit for slicks? I would like to pit for slicks, please. And his team said yes. The difference with Haas, they were both instructed to pit. And in the vaguest sense of Article 27.1, the driver must drive the car alone and unaided, that breaks that regulation. Yes, it's a bit of a vague one. However, it's not as simple as that. Now, I've been unable to find the exact technical directive, that's the word, the technical directive that I would like. However, there is a technical directive that was released a few years ago that stated there would be no instructing the drivers on the formation lap. At all. And then instructing the drivers, after we had that whole radio ban in 2016, which was just shit and pointless and didn't work and was awful, they then released everything and said, talk to your drivers as much as you like. But then a technical directive came in 2017, 2018 sort of time, that said you cannot instruct them on the formation lap. Unfortunately, I have been unable in trying to locate this. I will keep digging, and if I do find it, I'll pop it in the edit. So anything after the formation lap, you can instruct your driver to do whatever you like, which is exactly why Norris in Austria and Styria was being told, go scenario 7, press hold overtake for 5 seconds here, press and hold, or just press overtake once, yada 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 yada, in the really insightful videos about the driver-engineer relationship. But Haas broke that technical directive in instructing the team, or instructing the driver, to come in and pit under the formation lap. The technical directive, however, was mainly issued to stop the engineers telling the drivers how to set up the clutch pedal for the starts. So we didn't always get amazing starts, though there would be different and slow starts. That was the main reason for the technical directive. In addition to the technical directive, there were a list of exemptions, which again I have been unable to find, but I know that they exist. There was a list of exemptions within this technical directive that Haas unfortunately failed to comply with in being coming in to put slick tyres on a drying track. That did not fit the list of the FIA exemptions. I believe things that would be safety grounds. If the car was something was badly wrong with the car, it wasn't safe to drive, in which case you are permitted to instruct the driver on the formation lap. This is where the main issue lies. This is where a lot of people are kind of kind of picking at the FIA, as they so often do. Lots of people just lambast the FIA for being killing the sport for double standards and all sorts of that. Whenever a team like Haas have a good result, bang, Haas in the punching bag for the FIA. Yes and no. It's difficult. It's difficult to run a sport like Formula One. As I will give some more examples right now, as I've spoken a little bit about Haas, they broke Article 27.1 and, more importantly, the technical directives around the instructing the drivers on the formation lap. Kvyat got away with it as he asked the team to come in and pit. Haas did not get away with it as the team instructed the drivers to pit. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, a little bit of deviation from the title of the video. Other reasons why the FIA have got it a bit wrong and attracted a bit of negative attention. Who's next? Bottas. Bottas did not get a penalty for quotation marks, I'm doing quotation marks, jumping the start. So clearly, looking on board, Bottas jolted. No one's denying that. He's not denying that. He said he got distracted by a light on his dashboard, thinking it was the lights, then stopped. Ish. Not 100%. Anti-stall kicked in. Really, really bad start. Down to 7th. Fought back up to 3rd. Ended the race. So the issue with this, why wasn't he penalised for a jump start? The small initial jolt from Valtteri Bottas was within the FIA's tolerances of its sensor. It did not activate the sensor within the starting grid, which they use to help identify jump starts. It was not a big enough movement of the car to activate this sensor. I know that seems ridiculous because he clearly moved. He clearly moved before the lights were out. And then he didn't quite come to a stop. That's again what lots of people are saying. He didn't again come to a stop and then move off again. He sort of rolled to single digits miles an hour, less than a single digit of a mile an hour, but it wasn't stationary. So in my opinion, yes, he should have been penalised to some degree, to whatever degree the penalty is for a jump start. Whether it's a drive-through, whether it's a stop and go, whether it's 10 seconds, I don't know. I should know, but I don't. But surely the penalty enough was the fact he had a dreadful, dreadful start, and it cost him the chance at winning the race. Now, and the lead of the Drivers' Championship. That surely is penalty enough. He had the anti-stall kick in, he had just bogged down and couldn't get any traction at all. And that was it. He was down to 7th and had to fight his way back up to 3rd place. Whereas he was on the front row in P2, could have easily fought Hamilton for that victory. But because of his bad start, he was unable to. So in some respects, yes, he was penalised for jumping, in quotation marks, the start. But yes, the FIA in this instance should have penalised him. I know it kind of... it's similar to Alonso, it's similar to, well, Bottas in Austria 2017. It was just, it's within their tolerances. It's grey area. Not yes, not no. So we won't do anything. And that's what pisses off the fans. That's what makes them annoyed, is the fact that there is this grey area. There is this ambiguity around the penalties. The penalties should be yes or no. There should be no, we'll sit on the fence and take no further action, and then next week there's very similar situations pop up and you do, or you don't. That's where the issue lies with the fans and the FIA. And finally, Alex Albon. Got away, well, it wasn't his fault. Nothing to do with Alex Albon himself. Drove a superb race to P5. It was his team. Allegedly accused of drying the track with their little leaf blower things. I said this in my race review, which I am currently rendering, which if you can hear a computer just exploding in the background, I'm rendering my video. Anyway, Alex Albon's team, Red Bull, were allegedly drying the track with the leaf blower thingies. So after the FIA reviewed the video footage around the car, it was found nothing intentional. They weren't intentionally pointing the leaf blowers at the floor and drying the track. They weren't intentionally doing it. However, in drying the brakes or the tyres or whatever, you could go whoop, slip, dry a little bit of the track, and back on the brakes, whoop, slip. Everyone can do that on all four corners. This one should have been a penalty. Think of it as drivers going off of the track. Right, post-edit me interjecting myself here. I've just run through my own recording and I kind of jumble it up and I don't really explain it very well. So I'm going to try and explain it a little bit better now. This is obviously regarding the Alex Albon incident. So the FIA, in saying that the drying of the track wasn't done intentionally, in my mind, means that to some degree the track was dried. So they have openly said that it wasn't intentional, but that just incites that, indicates, what's that English language word that the English teachers always wanted you to use? It suggests, to me at least, that the track was dried to some degree, and therefore it should have been penalised, especially as a driver doesn't intentionally go off the track to extend track limits in qualifying, but they will still get their lap deleted. So why is this any different? Why, when the track to some degree, whether it was intentional or not, the track to some degree was dried, it should have been a penalty. To me, it's exactly the same as the driver going off the track. They don't intentionally extend the track limits because they know they will get penalised. So this should have been a penalty. I have no idea what the penalty would have been for whether Alex Albon would have got the penalty, whether the team would have just been fined hugely. I'm not sure, because it was nothing to do with Alex Albon at all. It wasn't his idea, it wasn't anything to do with him. Yes, he'd have benefited from a drying track on the start, but it seems to me a bit harsh to penalise the driver. But if that's what the penalty is for that incident, that's what it is. Now, that's hopefully explained it a little bit better than my little past me. Back to the video. So yes, the FIA have had a bit of a handful today with Haas, Bottas on his jump start, allegedly, quotation marks for myself, and Alex Albon. But I think that is it. Short little interjection after the race. Oh my lord, my computer's about to take off. So, I'm going to end this video here. I've been Alex Does F1 Stuff, and I will catch you in the next video with whatever and whenever I decide to make it. I'll see you guys then.